They just recently found the most expensive locker ever sold in the history of storage locker buying.
Yeah, this is the Sugarloaf Club storage room here, basically, where all of my personal stash sort of lives, plus some of the archival products that we've made over the years. So, does the club find its way in here? Or?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's the process for that?
I mean, I love hunting for like vintage clubs that remind me of my youth, or something I always wanted as a kid, or sort of like have a special like place in the design world of like golf club design. And so yeah, Played Against Sports, eBay, some stuff from when I was a kid, like, you know, might get a new set of clubs every few years. It all sort of like adds up and accumulates into this collection.
Okay.
I'm personally really smitten with the 962B Titleist set right now. Like, this has kind of become in my mind like the pinnacle of sort of that, like the end of the analog era of like golf club design. They're small tour head style blades, but have that cavity back like technology, I guess, for lack of a better term. But I think what's like really beautiful about them, like, let alone the like square toe and thin top line and like minimal offset, like this sort of like M grind on the sole here, which just like, I don't know, I've just never seen that on a set of irons before, and like it looks cool. Like, it might add some functionality I'm not even aware of, but like it just like looks really good and confidence inspiring. Plus, this was the set that Duval shot his 59 with in the desert once upon a time, and so I don't know, with like the DCI logo, which I think is beautiful, and like the tiny Titleist and this like little internal like swoosh in the cavity, and then like the B version of like an iron line, like the 962B. I don't know, just something like really like cool about them. Yeah, those are probably my favorite irons of all time. Another fun set is the Titleist 680s. So a couple years ago in Augusta for the Masters, stopped into Bonaventure Golf, and they had a set of these that had never been hit before for $1,000. And like, typically like I'm dumpster diving or like bargain hunting. So that was a bit of a stretch to pay a G for like a set of golf clubs at like a used golf store, but they had like never been hit. They were super fresh. And like, in terms of like blades, I mean, I know there's a couple like other sort of like premier examples of like the ideal blade, but there's the 680, I think, because like Adam Scott used it for so long, just like, to me, has like a really, really special place in like the pure chrome, like muscle back history.
That's crazy. They've never been hit. Have you ever wanted to like hit them?
Oh, dude, and then I played them. They're chattered up now. Like, I played these for a whole year, and then I let my buddy Colby play them for a year. Like, yeah, not precious about anything, but like, I just thought I'd never would find another like unhit set, and like, yeah, this was not a garage queen. Like, I played with these.
Okay. Did you go all the way to 3?
It does. It's 3 through P. Yeah, and I don't know, just like that, like, even just the like word forged under the Titleist mark, like, there's something like really, I don't know, like vintage about that. Like, I almost feel like they wouldn't do that again, you know, like something so close to the curly Titleist mark. Yeah. A couple other iron sets. So this was kind of like my first cool like set of irons. These were like a McGregor, like back in the early aughts, like had like at certain like club fitter locations, like they had a program where you could like go through all these like, you know, what shape do you want your toe, like what finish do you want, like do you want your initials on it, like offset blades, cavity backs, mix set, And so you had like all these options to choose from.
Yeah.
And like my dad, for some unbeknownst reason, like he let me convince him to like get this set for me. And I like custom designed like a McGregor set when I was like a teenager to exactly like what I wanted. And this was through EJL Golf Shop in Chicago, which I believe turned into Club Champion. But like, yeah, this was like, I got to like go down a list and like, as if I was like ordering a burrito at Chipotle, like pick out my ideal set of irons. And so I got blades P through 6, and then in the 5-4-3 got the cavity backs and this like sort of like matte finish with my initials. And yeah, it's just like a really like special place in my heart, because like really early on was like obsessed with like weird niche custom like golf club experiences. And yeah, and there's a real possibility that Don White was still at McGregor at the time and shaped these clubs. And luckily enough to like have a few other sets of Don White irons to this day. So sort of like continuing a legacy, you know, that I was a part of like really early on in my golf career. This would do you mind if I keep going, or do you want me to stop?
No, please.
This is like, speaking of Don White, like this set right here is a like when Patrick Boyd with National Custom Works was like kind of like figuring out like what to do next, like after he was with the iron company Scratch for so long. Like he and Don White started National Custom Works, and like I was one of their first customers with that new venture. And what I wanted here was like a half set of like perfectly spaced irons. And they were 6 degrees apart: 22, 28, 34, 40, and 46. And yeah, I basically like with this set, my goal was like the most extreme like blade set ever. 0 offset, super square toe. Yeah, flat back, like crazy narrow sole, like a little bit of like leading edge relief there. And like the result is like a super, super boxy, like 0, almost like forward, like onset. It like, doesn't that look like onset almost? Like, yeah, like the way it like, and they're tiny. And like,
see if I can get this.
I don't know, there was just like a moment in time, maybe like 10 years ago, when I was like, I want the most like hardcore half set ever. Yeah. And this was it. And everything in my bag from 58 to driver was like 6 degrees apart. And I don't know, I just found some like beauty in that.
How long did you play those?
Probably for a year or so. And then I quickly realized like, yeah, that's a really hard way to play golf with like blades that have onset and like 0 forgiveness. Maybe a little technology is like okay. Let's see. Yeah, I think if I had to choose one more set, it would be these, which is the Mizuno Tour Proven 2000 or the TP 2000s in this champagne finish. And this is like a special edition that I believe was only released in Europe, that was like commemorative to like whatever, some other MP set that like Nick Price had won a bunch of tournaments with, or maybe it was Faldo, I can't remember. But yeah, I found these at Play It Again Sports for $99, and it's like a hyper limited like commemorative series like special edition iron set that's like the guys didn't even like know what they were looking at essentially. Like it's so obscure, like they just priced it at like the lowest price they could for like a set of Mizuno irons. And like,
what do you think they go for?
I don't even know, but like definitely more than $100. But like even the Mizuno branding is like hyper minimal, right? Like it's just the M there. So I don't know. Finding these at my local Play It Again Sports was like, what are these doing here? Who dropped these off? So like the story behind like how did these end up in my hands like always like intrigues me. It's like a mystery basically.
Also curious who had them before you too.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, how did they end up there? Like, must have been like I don't know, some widowed husband died or something, you know, and like just getting rid of all of Johnny's clubs. So yeah, those are some of my favorite iron sets, I would say. Okay, so we'll start here with like this second collab we're gonna do with Makino. You know, our first collab with them, which I'm sure is in here somewhere, was like a more of like a, you know, a Newport 2 style, and then this is kind of that more classic answer with the roly-poly bumpers. But like our idea here was like to do something that was like really an ode to like sort of those like late 90s, early aught like Newport craze with like the roly-polies and sort of the tumbled finish and the little notch here. And yeah, just something that was like kind of tour looking, kind of retail looking, like a super deep red paint fill that you can like only see in certain light, and hand stamped player pairs. Yeah, anyway, super like a dream putter basically. I've always wanted to make. It's probably too much information. Let's see, what else here? Oh yeah, here's the first collab we did with Makino in that sort of like tri-sole, like more of like a square kind of bumper look there. Sort of like an ode to maybe like a Tiger putter Elder Wand scenario. This is my only Circle T, which is even like crazy to say. A Tour Pro gifted me this like 15 years ago. Kind of an odd one because it's a mid-slant Newport 2 in this sort of like gold finish with the dot. I sometimes dip back into gaming this. Like, it doesn't totally fit my stroke, but like it's cool just to like hold the Circle T. Like you feel cool like rocking that putter. Let's see here. That one doesn't really matter. Just a run-of-the-mill Scotty. That's another run-of-the-mill Scotty. This is pretty important to me, honestly. My dad got me this my freshman year of college. It is the Tyrillium 10, so like I think it was a 10-year anniversary edition of the Tyrillium line Scotty did. Newport 2, just like super classic. Like love the little Titleist here. It's a limited run. I think there's like 2,000 pieces. Yeah, the Tyrillium, like honestly, like I think it doesn't feel the best, but it like looks really cool, you know? Yeah. So I think it has like a special place in like golf putter lore, like the Tyrillium insert. And yeah, with the rainbow finish, that just looks sick. Let's see, last one here. Oh yeah, so this is a recent pickup for me here. It's a Newport 2 studio style. Like I've been looking, basically in college, like I lent my girlfriend at the time this putter and I never got it back. So I've been on the hunt for ever since then to like replace it, and finding a mint version of this era of Scotty is like damn near impossible. Finally did it, 34 inch. It's even got the grams and like, I don't know, it's just like cool. Like he put kind of like mil spec marks on there of like length, like weight, loft, and lie. Yeah, with the GSS insert, like I always thought this was like a wonderful, like kind of like the end of Scotty's like first golden era type of putter. And so, yeah, now that's back in my sort of like collection, I guess.
Could it be the one that your ex-girlfriend had, or is that?
I don't know, probably not, because it was like, this one's like pretty minty. So it's like, I don't know, someone was really taking care of this. Like maybe it was hers. Maybe it was my original putter all along and I bought it twice. Got a couple of TP Mills and stuff in here. Like, do we want to see those? Where should I lay those?
You're talking to a bunch of golf sippers that probably want to see everything.
Yeah, so I went through like a pretty hardcore like TP Mills phase. Like, I don't know, just kind of like really cool brand, and the fact that David TP's son is like still like running the show there, like just kind of fell in love with like the TP Mills like line of putters, and especially this Fleetwood style. Like I saw this, just like, you know, you get like obsessed with like a watch or something you see, and like I couldn't get this out of my head. So I remember, I don't know, kind of like with my first paycheck on Capitol Hill, like ended up buying this putter, and like I probably even wrote a note like, I'm a poor like, you know, like intern on Capitol Hill or whatever, like this means a lot to me sort of thing. And like David and I became kind of friends after that. And yeah, this is, as you can tell with all the patina, like one of my like true gamers, and like the Fleetwood style, which is sort of that like very like garage, like handmade look, but like with like the little longer flange. Like I always thought that was kind of like a best of all worlds, like kind of like stable modern, but with that like old school, like super flowy look. Let's see what else is in here in the TP world. That's a Tour Bettinardi putter. Let's see here. Yeah, so like I said, like David and I like became friends at TP Mills, and we actually, Sugarloaf did a collab with TP Mills. We flew down to Alabama, sort of like sketched out like what we were gonna do, and the idea was to do a run of I guess 15 Fleetwoods, like hand stamped, and then he kind of like gifted me the first of that run. With, you know, the 1 of 15 with my initials in it, and yeah, with the Sugarloaf arrow on the bottom, hand stamped TP Mill, mills, the 2 L's, upside down 7s, which I always thought was like a fun little thing he did, and then yeah, just like the tiny like mill in the back. Like it's just like a really beautiful putter.
Yeah, the stamping on the bottom is. Can you show me the stamping?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, so that is a super sick putter. I've honestly never even used that because it's like too special to me. Let's see. There's like one more TP mills in here. There's 2 more, but this is, and then David, he gifted me another Fleetwood. Actually, like this was like a total surprise. Like I wasn't even like expecting or asking for this, but yeah, this time he stamped my whole name and did like a 1 of 1 like little micro stamp there. Yeah, with like some like kind of like ghost snow in the back here, and yeah, that's just like a beautiful putter.
I love the polish. On
Yeah,
it.
like I don't even know how he like stamps that close to the toe, but yeah. So those are some of my favorite putters.
That's quite a collection right there.
This like S badge logo like came from honestly out of like an issue that is presented by the SSC Aero like core mark. Like it's a really wide but not very tall logo, so I was like, what if I need something to fit inside of a square or a circle? And I was like, okay, well, like let's make like maybe the S can be turned into this like shield, like using the arrow basically. So that's where that came from. And like honestly, like it's a really fun like secondary mark. Like
Yeah.
we kind of use it in this like thicker version sometimes. It also like this thinner application, but yeah, like to me it's almost like a baseball team logo or something, like especially when you see it on like this style of like the hat with like the felt S. It's become like a core part of the like aesthetic for sure. Let's see. Oh, my fake ID. Here's our room key from this Old Course Hotel in St. Andrews. Let's see if I have any golf photos in here. Yeah, like I guess like when I played the Old Course, like I have no idea when this was from, but yeah, this is probably when I studied abroad in Scotland, and that's I believe that's Braid Hills, maybe, in Edinburgh. So sick.